Welcome to Malcolm Reed's How to Barbecue Right, a podcast where we talk about barbecue, share recipes, and discuss all things delicious. And now, here's your host, Malcolm and Rochelle Reed.
Hey, welcome back to the How to Barbecue Right podcast. I'm your host, Malcolm Reed, joined by my lovely, talented wife, Miss Southern Shell, Tyler, over on the end of the table doing the boards. What's going on, guys?
What's up, man?
Shell, you having a good day?
Yeah.
It's rainy.
Yeah, the dog kept me up last night.
So we were doing some TikToks this week because the rain knocked us out of filming last week, and I got the need to put some stuff out. But I've been wanting to do. We're going to jump right in. Can I drop the hammer on what kind of cupcake I did?
Sure.
A blue plate mayo cupcake. And this is an old fashioned recipe. Like, it's been around. Like, if you go find your great grandmother's cookbooks, there will be a recipe in there for mayo cake, or mayo as an ingredient in a cake. And so I kind of took that and ran with it a little bit and made some cupcakes yesterday for a TikTok. There's going to be like devilishly sinister cupcakes.
Definitely. It was chocolate.
Because they have mayo in them.
Yeah.
Because they have spices in them. Because they have bacon in them. All the good stuff. And it's devil's food cake.
Yeah.
So
you used half the batter and made 12 regular size cupcakes.
let me tell you, that's my first time to make cupcakes too. But
I
they
had
turned out
no-
fantastic.
I had no idea that you've never made
Why
cupcakes
would I make a
before.
cupcake?
Everybody's made cupcakes.
I've made like cornbread muffins and blueberry muffins, but I've never made like cupcakes.
Anyway, you had leftover batter.
Yeah.
So I dropped it in my mini cupcake pan.
Instead of just throwing it out.
Yeah.
Or-
I was going to make 24 little mini cupcakes. Pulled them out of the oven, threw them on the counter to let them just cool off. We all went back outside to
Film.
yeah. Came back in, cupcakes are missing. It's like, what y'all do with these cupcakes? Where'd y'all put them? What's going on?
The bad thing was, so I go back inside and I see the tray of little mini cupcakes. And there's two in there. And I'm like, man, she must have took these out. I wonder where they stuck or something. Why these didn't come out. So I wiggled one around, it come out. I was like, oh, they released pretty good. I wonder where she put them. I didn't think nothing of it. Nothing of it.
Popped it in your mouth.
Popped it in my mouth and ate it. Because it's just one little delicious little bite.
Yeah, it
Blue
is.
plate mayo cupcake. And it was good. But apparently, my dog Sadie thought they were good too. Because unless we've got some kind of, unless it's the dude that lives upstairs in the attic. So, Minnie couldn't reach there.
No.
They were sitting on like the stove top, just cooling in the pan. And she managed to get, without moving the pan, because you could not tell the pan had been moved. There was no evidence, no crumbs around. She got 22 of those cupcakes out of that pan. It was just sitting over in the corner looking like I didn't do nothing.
But she had to lick on that one that you got.
She licked all over the ones I ate. The one I ate. The last one you threw away.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that. That kind of grosses me out too.
So somewhere around midnight, 2 and 4, she needed to go outside and use the bathroom.
Well, I started Googling what if dog eats cupcakes. What happens if it chocolate cupcakes? So, you hear chocolate will kill a dog.
Yeah.
And of course, everything you read, immediately go to the emergency vet.
Yeah.
This is serious. And I'm like, she seems okay. But anyway, I was, not panicking, but I was like, man, come on. It's like looking up if you got an illness. I got a cough and my chest hurts a little. You got cancer, you're having a heart attack. Well, the dog apparently was dire straits, but I waited it out. She's fine.
She's fine.
But she kept you up last night?
She just had the poops.
I didn't. She knows to go to your side of the bed. If she has to go outside, she's not messing with me. I'm going to go lay down.
Luckily, there was no cayenne in it or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, in that part there wasn't.
Yeah.
And I hadn't iced them yet. I don't even know if you were going to ice those. They were just,
I hadn't decided yet.
yeah, they were just the cake part.
I'd gotten to the point where, okay, what are we going to do these mini cupcakes? And it was like,
So
where are the mini cupcakes?
how much chocolate do you think was in mini cupcakes?
Not much.
Probably not.
I imagine it's mostly flour. She mostly ate flour and eggs and
Mayo.
yeah.
She loves.
Little mayo.
Turns out she loves blue plate.
She does. I've let her lick the spoon before.
Yeah,
The Grizz won last night.
they did.
Heck
They
yeah.
they had to. Their winter season's over now.
Yeah.
We went to game 2.
I thought we went to game 1.
Mm,
No, it was
just
game
2.
2.
Game 2. Yeah, it was when they
'Cause
won it. They won
lost
in
game
Memphis.
1. Yeah.
They went to LA and lost both those games, but Tyler says they should have won that last one.
Yeah, it was. If you're listening to this and you like the Lakers, that's fine. I don't have a problem with you. LeBron James, I respect him as a player in the league, but that dude is a crybaby. Like, he will go run to the refs under any circumstance and throw a fit. And like this one particular call,
Well, he gets away with it. That's probably why he does it.
Yeah.
They let him.
and and they literally, like, they were out of challenges and everything. LeBron James walks over to the refs. It was a bad call on saying it was our ball, but it was the Lakers, I guess. And he was like, he threw a fit that it wasn't their ball, and they changed the play.
They reversed it.
They reversed
just on
the
LeBron.
play, just by LeBron walking over there
King
and
James
yelling.
says.
And so anyway, we went into overtime at 104-104, and then we lost in overtime. So that was our game. But then last night we clutched it up, and we kind of massacred them. It was like 19 points. We were above.
I'm not going to say, Tyler, I was nervous. They let them fight all the way back to within 1.
Yeah, it was.
And then you came in the room. Shell came in the room. I think you went and took a shower. He came back, and I said, the Grizzlies got a 20-point lead again.
Yeah.
He was like, how? It hadn't been 10 minutes, but they did. They came back and went on a tear, and then I felt great when it got down to like 3 or 4 minutes to go, and the Lakers started setting LeBron, setting Davis. They were resting some, because those guys, they were behind the whole game, but they had played back. I'm hoping they wore themselves out that game, trying to chase the Grizzlies. Because the Grizzlies the backcourt was awesome.
Yeah.
So what is it, 3-2 right now?
Yeah.
Is the series?
We'd have to win 2 in a row.
That's going to be hard to do. And I don't think they beat the Lakers at home this year, have they?
No.
All season. So
it'll be rough.
yeah. If they can.
When's the next?
Friday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll
Friday
be a
night.
good game to watch Friday night.
It's hard for me to watch those 9 o'clock tip-off.
Is that
Yeah.
9:30?
Is it 9:30?
I'm like,
I
oh
know.
my gosh.
Yeah,
man.
That's bedtime.
Yeah.
I'll give you the update.
But you did get some of your favorites at the game.
What's that?
The dogs and the nachos.
Oh, at the Grizz game we went to? Yeah. I did get nachos. They were okay.
They weren't your nacho machine nachos.
Yeah, they weren't.
Yeah. We did find the best seats. We love the seats we found. They have this one club level. It's not really a club. It's kind of in the end, but they call it the box club or something like that, because it's not like a traditional, club seat.
I like it because you have a table and a chair. It's
like
not,
a rolling, like an office chair, like we're sitting in here. That's why I like them. And you got a TV screen.
You can put your drink and your nachos.
The advantage,
table.
You're not behind the goals. You're kind of at an angle. So you can see scoring on both ends, and it's easy. Yeah, I love it. I'd go back to those seats in a heartbeat.
So we went to the Morgan Wallen concert this weekend.
Yeah, so the Grizzlies was great. We didn't go to the Morgan Wallen concert. We went to the Ernest and the Hardy concert. Morgan Wallen decided he wasn't going to play that night.
So we were there. We experienced that firsthand.
The Ole Miss girls, he should have left them alone, like he said, the Nashville Broadway girls.
So I have some thoughts on this.
Yeah, I want to hear. So what is your thoughts on after it's all said and done?
So we were there. We were at the Morgan Wallen concert. Experienced it firsthand, right? And, I know what his official statement is about his voice went out. And I've heard all the rumors, And, he's a human being,
Yeah.
People get sick.
He's young.
Yeah, people get sick. They make mistakes, whatever. I'm not trying to come for him. But just looking for it from like a PR business perspective, like he's got one of the biggest tours going on in the country right now.
In the world, probably.
Yeah. So I feel like it's safe to assume there's a group of people that are seasoned professionals that are getting well paid to make sure that every show goes off without a hitch as much as they can.
Yeah.
Right?
Somebody lost their jobs, what you're saying?
No, I'm just saying I have a hard time believing that this group of, tour managers decided that was the best decision. That's how we're going to cancel this concert. Like, I feel like you either cancel it as early as you possibly can, or he comes on out and says, I don't have a voice, but we're going to let the band play and we're going to shoot off the fireworks and we're still going to put on the show.
Style it or something. Yeah.
Y'all are going to sing. I might bring Hardy back. You either make one of those two choices. What you don't do is charge people $50 to park, let them get into that stadium, sell them the merch, sell them the $20 beers, the $5 hot dogs. Let them get good and liquored up. Let them watch all those opening acts. Let all the excitement build.
Because they crescendoed it up.
Yeah.
I mean, it was rocking. I'm not going to lie. That was probably some of the best openings I've seen.
So you get that energy up. You get everybody excited. And then you pull the rug out from underneath them. Yeah.
Not to mention what you pay for tickets.
Yeah.
It wasn't like it was a cheap
I'm not
ticket.
even counting the money. I'm just counting like, they're lucky those rednecks did not burn Vault Hemingway to the ground. It's just like, there's more to it to me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there was some upset. There was a lot of kids there. A lot of kids wanted to go see Morgan Wallen.
Oh, yeah.
There was a lot of grown folks that I saw crying, women that was crying. I was like, I probably wouldn't even been there if it hadn't been for Michael wanting to go.
We bought him for Christmas.
Yeah.
We took his best little buddy.
I'm not upset about not. I miss Springfest. The barbecue contest. Yeah. Because they scheduled that concert, and I didn't realize it back when we bought those tickets back before Christmas.
Yeah.
That was the big, Christmas reveal. You're going to see your first concert. It's going to be, somebody you like, Morgan Wallen.
Yeah.
I'm going to go. Which I'm not going to say. I had a great time.
Oh, I was looking forward to it. Yeah.
It was fun. I mean,
and I was hoping he'd reschedule, but.
Yeah.
And I imagine there's no easy way to cancel a concert in that type of situation. But there's ways to do it that don't end you up in the national news cycle.
Yeah, so bad.
So here's my thought process on that. So there's so many people like you just get infatuated with celebrities and different, singers and stuff like that. So these women like love Morgan Wallen. You know what I'm saying? Like all he had to do was walk out on the stage with his raspy voice on the microphone and say, "Hey guys, like I can't prove to us that you cannot be, you can't sing," and I think he would have been all right. I don't think there would have been all this.
I agree.
PR.
Yeah.
No, at least nearly not as much.
Yeah.
So.
You didn't believe it at first. You were like, "Oh, this is just some kind of."
Because that's just not what you do.
They're just hyping us up more.
Yeah.
This ain't true. He's coming out.
I don't know much about tour management, but I know that's the worst way to do it. Yeah. That's why the math ain't mathing to me.
Yeah.
And like I said,
they're not. So he canceled like his next 3 shows of the tour.
Yeah.
Rescheduled those though.
Yeah, he rescheduled.
They had to refund all the money for these tickets.
But people have to do that all the time.
Or reschedule.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, have you seen musicians break their leg, fall and break their legs, or hurt their hand and can't perform, or lose their voice and have to postpone stuff? But they didn't postpone this one, which I wonder why. I guess it's just because of where it's at. It'd be hard to work that date in to do that in Oxford again, because it was a nightmare. It was not a good weekend to be in Oxford.
Oh, they had to assemble the whole stage and turn it into a concert venue, from a football venue to a concert venue.
And it was their first one, right?
Yeah, first
ever.
That's awesome.
I mean, it was crazy. LSU was in town playing baseball, which was a bad day to be an Ole Miss fan, because LSU just come in and stomped the Rebels for like 3 games. And then they had the concert, but the parking was so crazy because they let the baseball game out while everybody was trying to come to the concert. And it was gridlock around Oxford. It took us like almost 2 hours to get from the baseball, where we parked for baseball, back to the Airbnb we rented. And we're like, we're not going to do this tomorrow, guys. Concert day, we figured this out. We're going to get there early. We're going to tailgate a little. The kids got them a wiffle ball at like the Dollar Tree, and they were playing, could play, hit the ball out by the car, and we'd sit around, listen to Morgan Wallen. We made a playlist, had Morgan Wallen playlist going for the weekend.
I've had his song stuck in my head all week. I can't get them out because we listened to him getting ready for the concert.
Oh, yeah.
Last week.
We were hyped. We hyped ourselves up for it. And I'm sure we're not the only ones.
Here's my quick question. Could you not call in a favor to somebody? Like, if you knew well enough in advance on that day that your voice was shot, could you you're pretty close to Nashville within like 3.5 hours.
They could have flew. Somebody could have got on the jet and flew to Tupelo and been there in 30 minutes.
That's why I feel like whatever happened after the first act.
Here's
started.
what I think happened.
Yeah.
He had such a good show on. So Friday he went to the baseball game.
See, now this is just me.
This is just me. Yeah, doing my spelunking on social media. He was at the baseball game, with a bunch of people on Friday.
Yes.
He had his show on Saturday, so he probably partied a little bit Friday night.
And there was people saying that you could tell his voice was
a little bit on Saturday.
It was getting weak.
But the weather was beautiful Saturday. It wasn't like he performed in cold weather or whatever. Saturday was beautiful. Now it changed into Sunday, and Sunday got a little rainy and a little cool, but it wasn't bad. Wind was blowing, but he probably partied all day Saturday up to that show. He did that show. He was funneling beers at the end of it on stage with Hardy, and they were throwing beers and all this. And I'm sure there's no telling how many fraternity parties were Friday night, how many other parties were Friday night. He hooked up with some of them cute old Miss girls with them little sundresses and their white boots and the hats they had on. And I'm sure they partied all night Saturday night. And then they probably didn't find him till about 2:30, 3 o'clock Saturday or Sunday. He's supposed to be on stage in 5 hours, and they're probably trying to IV him and get him where they can prop him up on stage that night, and it wasn't going to happen. I would imagine they put him on a jet in Tupelo and got him back to Nashville fast. And he probably went to Vanderbilt Hospital and got IV treatment, and stomach pumped, and all that stuff. And he's like, man, I need to recoup. He may be in a clinic somewhere right now. I hadn't seen. He's been social silent.
Well, yeah.
That post they put out was like so generic.
Yeah,
and it was a story. It wasn't even a post. It was like, let's post a story.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope he's all right because he's a great entertainer. And hey, Oxford will get you. I ain't gonna lie. You don't know how many professors I've told this same story to. I lost my voice. I can't make it. I don't know. It's bad.
I did everything I could.
I did everything I could. We're gonna have to refund some money. Can I get something back on this tuition this semester? We can start over next semester, right? I just need incompletes. I don't need Fs. I've been there. I've been there at Ole Miss. It ain't just something you breeze into. Think you're gonna just hang out. It'll get you.
I'm starting to think he partied with you.
Hey, we had a good time. I ain't gonna lie.
Speaking of Springfest was last weekend. We missed it. So Springfest is kind of like a local tune-up for Memphis and May. Would you call it?
Very first contest I ever competed in, and it is. And people always treated it because it's just a few weeks before Memphis and May. So all these big teams that were going to compete at Memphis and May, the heavy hitter teams that really got a chance to win Memphis and May, would always go to Springfest, hone those recipes, fine tune everything, and be ready for the World Championship in just a few weeks. And so that's how it's always been. Then they added a KCBS side to it, so it's like a double contest. You can cook both there now. They filled it up; it was sold out. Waiting list to get in. Yeah,
we knew some people that were trying to get in. I think Jamie was trying to cook in it.
Yep.
Talking about it being a tune-up for Memphis and May, there's more Memphis and May world champions living in this area than
DeSoto County.
Yeah,
guaranteed.
Think Springfest has something to do with it?
Yeah, I would think so. Well, I mean, I've always said, it was like when you cooked around here, especially Springfest or any of these local contests that are within an hour of us. You either got embarrassed or you learned to cook because you were going up against such good competition back in the day.
Yeah, Myron.
Yeah, and this was before barbecue was mainstream. You had KCBS starting up, and you had Memphis and May sanctioned, and then it switched to MBN, and it still stayed the same. But you had all these world champions running running these contests around here and dominating at them. And if you wanted to learn to cook as good as them, you have a choice. You had to get jump in there with them and hone your skills.
Take your lumps and learn from them. Razorbacks won the KCBS for the fourth time in a row.
Isn't that Drew? Man, isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Boar's Night out won the MBN side. 4
years in a row he's won KCBS. Boar's Night's won Springfest several times too. I don't know about in a row, but
yeah,
I think they won with their shoulder.
This past weekend they won with their shoulder. I've noticed something. People that compete on a regular basis, there's always a couple contests that they do really, really good at, like year after year after year. And then there's always some of those contests where they hate your stuff, like our Tupelo. Yeah, we used to do really good at Tupelo year after year after year. That was like
came natural to us.
Our contest. And then there was a couple contests where we couldn't catch a call.
Oh yeah,
couldn't buy one. So
I guess the regionality of it.
I don't know.
Judges there,
but would you agree? I mean, do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I see it. I mean, even at I don't know. There's something a sweet spot to me. Like the bigger contest, we always seem to do good at. I think what it is you've got so many entries. They have to have so many other judges, but some of these contests they use the same pool of judges all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter if you say you're non-biased or not, we're just predispositioned to have that taste in our mouth and to know what we like and to score it probably the same way from contest to contest. So I think you see a lot of that in these smaller contests that they may only have 30-something teams. And so, you know, and so they learn to know those flavors. And that's a lot of competition barbecue. You have to learn to cook to that. You have to learn to cook to your judges. It's not what you like. It's about learning to cook to the contest you're at, to the judges you're going to be at. And I've heard guys say they take it as serious as going out, kind of perusing what judges are showing up that morning, how they're looking, if there's more women than men, how they're going to skew some of the stuff just based on who's judging them. And if you don't, like, if you get real serious about it, you got to take all of that into account. I never really, that wasn't my cup of tea. I was there to have a good time. If you win, you win, but most of the time we wasn't going to lose the party. So.
Mikey was cooking with the team. He was cooking their ribs.
Yeah, he learned a good lesson this week.
So he missed turn-in.
Did not manage his time well, did he? I know what that was. When they said that, I was like, I know what happened there.
What happened?
What do you think happened? Had a lot to do with them Miller Lite cans, I guarantee you.
The morning
it's
of.
too easy to do. I mean,
he blamed
either way,
the timekeeper.
Yeah, he blamed the timekeeper. Let me know when there's 2 minutes left. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think if you miss a turn in, which I've done it before. There's been miscommunications. You forget. Usually haven't missed it because usually haven't missed one because everything was going as planned. You know what I mean? Yeah. It don't happen that way. There's some other cause that causes you to do it most often, but it happens. That's a hard one to swallow.
I remember we missed the sauce turn-in at the Jack, which didn't count to our total overall score, but we missed it by like
an hour.
We got our times completely mixed up.
Yeah, I don't even know what we were thinking. It's like we walk up there with it, and it's like, no, nobody's turning in sauce. They're all turning in something else. Turn around and come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You put it behind your back, and
there's nothing worse than having to walk back with that entry.
Yes.
That you ran up there and you ran out of time. If you totally miss it, it's not so bad. But like if you get there and they shut the clock down and they won't take any more, and you've
got it ready to go. Yeah.
That's hard. But it happens.
Any tips to avoid missing a turn-in?
Get you an atomic clock. Get you 2 timekeepers. And always tell whoever's building the box that they have less time than they think they have. Because I have to do that with Waylon all the time. It's like, all right, I'll start calling 5 minutes, knowing, the window ain't even open yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Just because some people when you're in the heat of the moment, putting meat in the box and all that, you've got you're kind of staying on your own time. You're not rushing. You're not wanting to do it. So if you leave it up to yourself, you're probably going to come up short. But if you have somebody that's kind of watching that time for you and know when you got to go, and they're looking out for it, adding a little extra time, but you need to get the walk down. You need to take the crowd into effect. Sometimes we got these contests, and there's an army of people out there that you got to fight through, like the big contest. I mean, all that factors into when you get that entry turned in.
And usually the big contests, you have a longer walk too. So,
but it's a fine line to play because we like turning in right at the end of the window because it's like your meat's still hot and fresh as it could be. It's not sitting there. Like if you get there before the window opens or right at. Sometimes they're holding those trays till they get a full tray of food to take it to the table. So you got to think all that into it. It's a tricky thing to juggle.
Yeah.
But just don't get there before the clock's put down.
I'd rather turn in early and have it sit there for a little bit
than to be late. Oh yeah. No, I mean you're no good if you don't get to turn it in. So
I always had a theory that you turn in chicken hot and fresh. You want to be one of the first ones there. The judges are ready. They're hungry.
Oh, yeah. And then they start staggering them from there because they do mix the trays up. They try to make sure that the same, trays don't go on the same table every time. So they start shucking and jiving a little bit. And that's where not getting there too early comes into effect because some of those will get held because they've got a table that they know they're going to go to or something,
So I feel like ribs is kind of middle of the pack, and then pork and brisket you turn in a little later.
Yeah, later and later, yeah. So would you stand there at the table and wait for it?
I have.
You've done that before?
Yeah. If I have like a warmer,
Yeah, like an insulated carrier or something.
Because I usually, back in the day, I would turn our boxes in before I quit the team.
Before you quit the
team. This week you received a package from Kevin.
Man.
Down at the Butcher Shoppe in Pensacola.
Do you know I get so excited when I see that always hand-picked on the cooler? and it comes in. Oh man, you know there's something good in that box.
So what'd you get this time?
I'm doing some recipes, and I had some ideas on some stuff I wanted to do. I got some tomahawk pork chops, or nice thick tomahawk chops.
So what is a tomahawk?
It's just so anytime you see a tomahawk, it's they left that rib bone on it. So just think of a bone-in pork chop with all that rib bone on it, or a bone-in beef rib with all that beef rib on it. That's all they are. So it's a rib eye from a cow with the rib bone attached is a tomahawk beef steak, and then a pork would be the rib loin with the ribs, loin back and spare rib a lot of it left on it, and that's all it is.
So it's the whole rib or close to it.
Yeah, close to it. It's not the whole rib, but it's close to it. It's a large portion of the rib. Even on the cow, it's not the whole rib. I mean, you got to think of cow.
Yeah, I figured that'd be, and it curved pretty good.
But
anyway.
And they're really just aesthetics because they don't add anything.
Man.
I mean, don't get me wrong.
Meat off that bone was pretty good.
Yeah, but what's that extra 12 inches of bone do? Just a handle to hold it?
Yeah.
Looks cool. But I got some of those. I did get a tomahawk. I did get some flank steak. I got some beef cheeks, which I'm working on a YouTube video for, doing some beef cheek birria tacos. I don't know. That's how you say it. I can't say it. You say it.
Birria.
Yeah,
That's how you do it.
Birria. But then I got some
picanha.
Ooh, I hadn't cooked that one yet.
And you got some Denver steak.
And Denver steaks. I did cook the Denver. Man, you talk about the Wagyu Denver steak. It might be the best steak. What's the best steak to you? Well, I already know what you're gonna say.
I mean, ribeyes. If you're just talking about like a cut that I'm gonna go to.
Yeah, no, just the best steak to you.
Is a ribeye. Yeah.
Denver may be mine.
Denver that steak was really, really good. Where does the Denver come from?
It comes from the shoulder, the chuck area, and it's only been around about a decade or so. Yeah, I mean, I guess they were trying to package up a way to. I mean, the beef cattlemen's or beef association, they're always trying to come out with different ways to sell more of the cow at a higher dollar, probably.
Yeah.
But they come up with this steak, and it's part of the chuck roast. It's like, I guess it's right in the curve of the shoulder bone or something to where that muscle doesn't get used as much, but it's heavily, heavily marbled. And so they cut out that Denver steak is what they called it. I don't know why they called it Denver. I guess maybe the cattlemen's people that are in Denver or something. I don't know. I didn't research that. But that's where it comes from. It comes from the chuck area. It's part of the chuck roll. And they cut them out in steaks, and you don't see them in a lot of, I think you mainly see them in like restaurants and stuff. You don't, like, you're not just going to go to a store or not in the Memphis area and find a Denver steak. But Kevin sources them and Kevin sells them. And he even has the Australian Wagyu version of it, which is what I got. And let me tell you, for pound, taste for taste, Denver is where it's at. It's super tender. It's well marbled. It's kind of remind you of a strip-esque look.
Yeah. Michael thought they were strips.
So, yeah, because usually they don't have a whole lot of fat on the outside of them. And it's usually just all eatable meat. There's no bone.
Yeah.
And they're on the thinner side, so they cook super fast. And you really only need to sear them just a few minutes. I mean, like maybe minute and a half, 2 minutes on each side, and they're pretty much ready to go.
And the grain runs.
You have to watch out. Yeah. That you would think on it. Especially a lot of times they'll take that Denver steak and they'll cut it out. It'll be kind of rectangleish, and you'll see them split it or half it and make two strips out of one. A lot of times that's how I've seen them. And so it changes the way the grain runs, so you have to watch how you slice it. But with those Wagyu ones, man, I don't know if you could slice them wrong.
It didn't matter.
There's so much intermuscular fat in them, and it just melts in your mouth, and it's fantastic.
So is it Wagyu or Wagyu?
Don't get me. I don't say stuff right. I'm from Mississippi. I say Wagyu.
I'm genuinely asking.
Yeah.
I'm not.
I'll say Wagyu. I'll say Wagyu. I'll say, I don't know.
Whatever. Yeah.
Whatever it takes.
So
I'm sure somebody will correct me on the internet.
So I have some questions about like what makes the cut for these high-end meats. Like what makes it a Wagyu? So from is there American Wagyu?
Yeah. There's people breeding them over here now. So Wagyu, from the way I understand it, is a specific breed of Japanese cow. That's what it means. Like Japanese cow, and is how Wagyu would translate to English.
Yeah.
And so there's grading of Wagyu in Japan, just like we have the USDA grades American beef, select, choice, prime. Well, they grade like on a number system, and it's usually like 1 to 5 is the grade you see assigned to Japanese grading system, but they also have like a quality score which makes up those 1 to 5. So the quality score runs from like 1 to 12, and they grade them on like how much marbling the steak has, how big the ribeye is, the color of the meat, the color of the fat, the intermuscular marbling percentage, or what they call it IMF percent or something like that. Those are all things they grade them on. And so the highest grade you could possibly get would be like a 12 quality score, which would translate to an excellent, and they give it the 5. So you got that A5 rating. Just think of that as being the absolute best Japanese Wagyu there is.
So when we had that A5,
that's graded excellent Japanese. Now it's not necessarily Kobe beef. Kobe beef is Wagyu beef. It comes from a Wagyu, the breed Wagyu, which is there's like 4 heritage breeds of cows that they consider Wagyu beef in Japan or something like that. I don't know what they are, but it's something like that.
Okay.
Like a black cow or brown or whatever,
Yeah,
but that's how they consider them. That they have to be Wagyu, but they're not all Kobe. Kobe, think of it as like, how champagne, like real champagne has got to come from the Champagne region of France or whatever. Kobe's the same way.
Sparkling wine.
Yeah. The rest is sparkling wine. The rest will be Kobe wine, or not Kobe wine,
but
Wagyu wine.
Yeah,
it's kind of the same thing. You have to come to get the Kobe, and I'm sure they have a stricter grading system for Kobe too, but it has to come from this specific region, and I think Kobe is like the capital or something, or whatever county seat.
Yeah.
Whatever it is where they get that name from.
Do you know how big the region is?
I have no idea. Japan's not that big, right?
Yeah,
can be very big, but they are Japanese cattle, and so most of the stuff we cook is not Japanese; it's Australian, and Australia has a grading process too. It's a lot like the Japanese, where they grade 1 to 5. But they quality score like only 1 to 9. So like Kevin's stuff, he says it's home of the A9 brisket.
Yeah.
A9 Australian score is like a Kobe A5, or basically it'd be an A12, because A9 is as high as Australia goes. Okay. They just knock off some.
So that's
numbers.
The best you can get in the.
Yeah.
Australian.
So it would still be an A5 with a quality score of 9, and so they say really it's probably a marketing thing. They're really not A9s. It'd be A1 through 5.
Yeah.
Poor being 1, excellent being 5, kind of, range it out like that. And they use all these other things to make up their quality of it, is how they get to that number. It's really confusing.
Yeah.
I started looking at it when we started talking, when you asked me a question, like what's up with Wagyu? I said, I really don't know, but I'll find out. The best way to my knowledge, what I found.
So when I first heard about, like Kobe beef and stuff, you heard about they took cows and they massaged them every day and they fed them beer and stuff. Is that true? Do they still do that? Is that a thing?
I don't think, no. Well, I think what happened on that, and I did read an article on it, it was like, so in the wintertime, those cows, so Japan doesn't have like a lot of land to pasture roam like our cows get to do. Mm-hmm. So in order for their muscles, when they do use those cows for work, but in order for their muscles not to get stove up, where they're achy and hurting and all that, they would beat on them
with those cane sticks.
Just kind of keep them loose and limber, and that's where that came from. And the beard thing came from in the wintertime. I guess they hadn't been doing much work, and they didn't want to eat as much and put on weight, so they gave them some beer to make them eat. And it's like, you give me beer, I want chicken wings. You give that cow beer, it wants grain and corn, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's how that works. And that's where it came from.
So it's not necessarily.
It's not a myth, but it's not like their diet. Like they got this cow tied up and he gets a keg of beer and he gets massaged.
That makes sense. It's for a reason. It's not. So it's not necessarily affecting the grading of the.
No, it has nothing to do with it. What the deal with the breed is, they're just different cows than we have in America. They have higher unsaturated fat in their meat. And it's like they don't have more fat on the cow than our cows do, but they have more unsaturated fat, which is what called the marbling that you see in it, in the muscle. So they have higher intermuscular fat than, say, our U.S. beef does.
Yeah.
That's where it comes from. Like as far as like the fat on the carcass, it's not any more than, you think of a cow with that much intermuscular fat, it's just going to be,
bigger.
Yeah, bigger, swell up. Yeah. And I think part of their size is part of their grade. Just like when we went to CAB, they had all these ratings to make it certified Angus beef. They have all these ratings that make up their scoring system in Japan too.
Yeah, I found that really interesting when we went there. The certified Angus beef, they would use what do you use to look at babies in the womb?
Ultrasounds.
They use ultrasounds to look at the marbling of calves while they're still alive. So.
You don't really see like American Wagyu graded anything like that. It's still like they still grade ours. It's either going to be select, choice, or prime. So equivalent would be like one of our prime steaks would be the highest that we could get, or theirs would be the A5.
So if you had like a Kobe beef cow here and tried to grade it, it would only get a prime.
Yeah. There's no such thing, and that's why it's like you can say they just kind of make it up for marketing purposes, and they use it a lot that way too. Because
I've started to see Wagyu in like Walmart.
Yeah. And I don't know if that's comes from American cows or if they're shipping it in from overseas or what.
Just marketing,
Or it's just marketing, yeah.
You always say that like the lesser cuts of the Wagyu are kind of like where you would spend your money on.
Yeah, definitely. Because, I mean, for one thing, you can't eat a lot of that steak. Like the Denver steak, it probably weighed, 8-10 ounces. Mm-hmm. They're not super big. Like, you're not going to eat a 16-ounce A5 ribeye. It would be so rich, so fatty, it would make you sick. I mean, you just order it by the ounce. And most of the time you see like the way the Japanese people eat it, they eat real high quality meat. They love that, unsaturated fat that's all marbled in it, but they cut it super thin and they just sear it on the outside and it makes that fat melt. It's different than the kind of fat that's in a ribeye that we eat.
Yeah.
It doesn't really melt. You still have the
big hunks.
Fattiness of it, the big hunks. Well, this fat just melts out and it kind of coats your mouth and it's like butter when you put it in it. It's uber rich. And that's what makes it so good. You just can't eat that much of it. And I don't think so. Why spend the money on like a Wagyu filet or a Wagyu ribeye or something like that when you can get a Denver steak, a flat iron, some of these lesser, even a chuck steak, something that a hanger steak, something that's, not a real known cut that might be considered a lesser cut. It's going to have more flavor. The marbling is going to beat one of our ribeyes. I mean, all day long.
Yeah.
I saw it in that Denver steak.
And you're not spending the same amount.
That's right. And you're not paying $100 for a steak. You can get one of those, around 20 something like that.
How would you find like high-end meat?
I'd call Kevin at the Butcher Shoppe in Pensacola.
Is there any?
There's places that sell it. Yeah, Snake River sells Wagyu briskets. And I mean, there's all kinds of places you can get it now, and you're seeing it at Walmart.
Yeah, but is it
like
real?
That. I don't know.
I don't know.
I need to buy one and try it for real, side by side. See how that steak is.
Have you tried one?
No, that's what I was saying. I'd be interested to see like a test between like Kevin's and the Walmarts or something.
That's a good idea.
That is a good video. Yeah. I will say that from what I've tried, I prefer the Australian Wagyu over the Japanese. And
why?
Because Japanese made me so sick one time. Because you can't stop eating it. One little strip ain't enough for a big guy like me, even though it should be. And you can actually eat some of these others. They have super high marbling and they're rich and buttery and all that same qualities. But it's not just like all fat.
Yeah.
Because some of that, like I've had some real Japanese A5 before, and it's marbled with lean. It's like you had a steak of nothing but fat, and the lean's flaked in it.
Yeah.
And it melts, and it tastes unbelievable. It's like eating bone marrow butter as you eat it, and you don't cook it very much, and it gets this nice crust on. But man, if you eat 3 or 4 pieces of it, Oh, it'll hurt you.
Was that
So I like to eat the steak. You know, I want something that's got a mixture.
Was that Wagyu prime rib? Was that Australian or Japanese? Do you remember?
It was Australian.
Australian.
Yeah.
Most of the
Yeah.
Wagyu you get is Australian.
I
Right?
mean, most of that I get.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess I don't know if it's readily available. I can see, like, I don't know how much, like, real Japanese Wagyu they could actually raise you. That's a good question to look up and
Yeah.
see. Just because they don't have the land to do it. Australia's got a lot of farmland where they can raise them, so I'm sure they're raising way more.
So is there a type of a pork that's a Wagyu?
Yeah. They call it carabuta. It's but you know what? It's actually it's Berkshire hogs that they started that line with, I guess, way back when, maybe 1700s or something like that.
Yeah.
They sent some Berkshire black hogs from, I don't know if they were black back then. They might have had a different color to them, but they sent them to Japan, and they crossed them with some hogs they had and created that carabuta pork, highly marbled, same kind of deal, and they named it carabuta, but it was bred off of Berkshire. So what it amounts to, we have something like that in the U.S. It's just our heritage hogs. You think of the Durocs, the Berkshires, all, you know, the Mangalines, all these other different.
The non-commodity.
Yeah, the non-commodity hogs. It's an old lard hog. They have more fat on them. Their loins aren't as long. They're squattier pigs, but they get heavy. They have more intermuscular fat to them. I mean, it's the same difference. As you cook that pork, it, you know, melts that hog fat will melt better, and it gives it that different mouthfeel. You don't dry it out. It's not dry. It's not tasteless. It has flavor.
Meat has more flavor.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
And it's really good. And I don't know if I've had some Snake River carabuta. We've cooked their shoulders before, and they're good. I think what you gain over, like, from a barbecue contest perspective, cooking Wagyu or cooking, you know, heritage pork, or, you know, the carabuta, the Berkshires, your Durocs, all this other stuff, you gain something by not drying the meat out as fast because of the fat content of the meat. That's my biggest takeaway on cooking. Why you'd spend money in a contest. Does it taste better? It probably does taste a little better. But the biggest thing is you're not going to dry it out, so it's going to yield to be more tender, more flavorful, and has more moisture in it.
yeah,
So that's why people cook it.
it's kind of become like the norm now.
Oh, yeah. It used to not be.
Yeah, it used to be special. Yeah, it used to be rare. Like, oh, you spent the money on one.
Yeah.
Now it's you didn't spend the money on one. Yeah. What about chickens?
Now, I don't know. I don't know if they have
Them
Wagyu
high-grade
Wagyu chicken, but I need to find that out. Like, if there's some kind of better tasting
Top shelf.
top shelf chicken. That's a good name for it.
That's a good name of a wing joint.
Heck yeah.
What Chick-fil-A's got to be serving.
Chick-fil-A got that top shelf chicken, that Wagyu.
That's why it tastes so good.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's any I know there's a bunch of special chicken breeds because that's how
yeah.
the
Yeah.
chicken people got them. The Silkies and the, you know,
Mhm.
I don't know. That's the one I know.
I know that's a funky looking one. There's all different kinds.
Yeah.
Though.
I wonder if
There's got to be some better tasting. We get the old standard white hen that comes on the trucks, and that's
Yeah.
I mean, so you think about it, the Springer Mountain chicken. I love that chicken compared to, like, just chicken you go to the store. It tastes better. It's smaller chicken.
Why is that one different?
I don't know
Is
if it's
it
a
free
different
range
breed
or-
of chicken. I really don't know
Yeah.
why it's better. I mean, I'm sure that if you go to their website,
They'll explain.
it's all natural, no hormones. I mean, all this, you know, raised in a different environment. I don't know, free range maybe. They got all these things for them, but it comes down to probably the breed, if they're using different chickens, or that's a good question. I don't know. Smart chicken, it's kind of like that.
Yeah. And those are the chicken brands that a lot of people in contests are
Yeah.
want to cook.
That's the two that I know of that most people cook. There's another one, Bell and Evans. It's like an all natural too that tastes a little better than just regular chicken we get. But all the chicken I buy is just whatever Kroger has. You know,
Yeah.
It's mainly Tyson or Heritage. Is it Sanders?
Heritage
The
Farm.
Mississippi, and Heritage Farms is one too.
But I don't know if that's the brand. I don't know. What's the one that used to have Paula Dean's face on the cover?
That was a Springer Mountain.
Springer Mountain.
Yeah,
But I did find out about like different brands of chicken and stuff like that in the grocery stores when we were talking with one of the companies that we were going to do work with, is that in different parts of the country, they all sell the same chicken, but it has a different label across the nation for some reason. Like, I don't know if it just like Heritage Farm sells better than Sanderson Farm somewhere, but it's actually all the same farm.
So there's only a few chicken producers and they're putting different labels on them, kind of like pellets.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all marketing. I want to find out if there's a better chicken though. Like, what is the Wagyu chicken?
I want to see that fat little chicken.
Yeah, I want to see that fat little chicken. I want to eat that fat little chicken.
I feel like this would be a good time to remind you that Blue Plate mayonnaise is the best mayonnaise on the planet.
Yeah, if you're making chicken salad, use Blue Plate. Quality since 1927.
Hashtag spread the love.
Spread the love. I love the hashtag spread the love.
So I got a couple questions for you.
Let's fire them off. I like
community questions.
Man, I saw some good stuff in the community. Somebody posted. Oh. Did you see that tri-tip? And I can't remember the lady's name. Did I send that to you? A comment on it? It was beautiful. You
said that somebody smoked a tri-tip, then cast iron seared it in the firebox of the smoker.
Yes, it was in and they did it with the butter and the garlic and the herbs in the butter.
So they reverse seared it kind of?
Yes, reverse seared it and then threw it in an iron skillet and put it in their firebox.
In the firebox?
That's what it said. Now, I didn't see pictures of it. That was my question too. What kind of smoker do you think? I mean, it looked like a...
How big was the firebox?
I don't know. It was big enough to put a skillet in. You're asking me questions. I don't know. I saw one picture.
Oh, of it done.
But it was beautiful, yeah.
It wasn't like pictures of the step?
No. Okay. Yeah. It didn't say what kind of smoker. It didn't say, all that. It didn't have the steps. It was just like, smoked this tri-tip, then seared it in the firebox.
That's a good idea.
It's genius.
Yeah, because you get the smoke, and then you're going to get that like we talked about last week.
Full crust.
That full crust.
That's exactly how it looked. I wanted to see some more pictures of it sliced. It was just the whole tri-tip and it looked good.
Talking about one of your favorite cuts, tri-tip's up there for me.
Oh yeah,
it has a real beefiness that I like, and the fatty part of it's real beefy. It's
just that little line of fat. The rest of it's super lean.
Yeah. I almost forgot we haven't talked about Memphis May.
Oh, I thought we were doing questions.
I know, but I had a whole thing.
All right, let's talk about Memphis May first before we jump into questions. We can back up.
Yeah.
There's no wrong with backing up. It's our podcast.
We got distracted. Talking about Morgan Wallen and the Grizz.
Memphis May is coming up.
Yeah. It's real close.
So where are we at in our process? You got tablecloths ordered? Curtains?
Yeah.
All right. Testing out the hot dog machine today?
We are. So last year we added the nacho machine. This year we're adding the hot dog machine.
Let me tell you, the Advantco 100 hot dog cooker. It is a steam chamber where you can load 100 of your favorite hot dogs on one side and up to 48 buns on the other side. I guess you got to double dog them buns. you got to double dog them.
I don't think it takes quite as long.
To do buns. Yeah. So you could maybe say after you burn through about 50 of the dogs, you can load in 50 more buns.
Yeah.
I'll go along with that. I'm excited about that.
It showed up we opened it up out of the box yesterday, Mikey did, and he said he had to do a little work on it. He said it was crooked and bent up, and
Jacob didn't have any faith in him. He said the glass is not going in there. The frame was sideways. The glass is cut square. So
I guess he made it work.
It's back there steamed up right now, locked and loaded with dogs.
We're testing it out today. Yeah. We got the nacho cheese machine fired up today.
That's my question. Are you going to eat a nacho cheese dog?
I hadn't thought about it.
Can't be bad.
I should have worn my comfy pants.
Stretchy pants. Gotta go put on my stretchers.
So if someone's planning on coming to Memphis May this year, do you have any recommendations for them?
Book your hotel room. If you ain't got a hotel room, good luck. But there's good places to stay. You could stay across the river in West Memphis. You can stay in South Haven. A lot of those Memphis hotels fill up super fast unless you go out.
Yeah.
Like go on 240 and go out. If you're driving in, you might as well, stay somewhere safe. go to South Haven. But yeah, so that's the main thing. You never know what's going to happen at Memphis. You don't know what the weather's going to be like. It's going to be hot, humid, and sticky. you're going to, need some cool summertime clothes, or if you're going to need full-blown rain gear or a light jacket, because it can change on you. And it will change over the course of that weekend. Always does.
My fingers are crossed. It's going to be beautiful, not humid, not too much rain.
You can pre-buy your tickets to get in. They sell daily tickets, or they sell 3-day passes. Most teams, well, I'd say all teams are private. So if you come to Memphis in May thinking you're going to go in everybody's booth and, eat barbecue, that's probably not going to happen. It's still fun to walk around and meet people, because most people are friendly. And, I strike up conversations. People come by our booth all the time. We're one of the ones we're private, but we let people come in and talk to us, show them around and all that stuff. So most people are hospitable like that. But just know that it is a barbecue contest. It's not just a public thing. But they do a lot of stuff. Like, they have public tours you can sign up for where teams are doing tours of their booth. They have tasting opportunities. They have full-blown vending there where you can buy barbecue and stuff like that. But, the teams, as a team, we're not allowed to sell barbecue. They don't give us that right. So it's considered a private extension of your home in your booth. So if you invite somebody in, you can give them barbecue, you can give them drinks, you're responsible for them. But it's not like a public, like you're giving out free samples to the public. Yeah. I guess they do that to cover their liability, I imagine. I can't imagine what it would be like if the health department, tried to police that many teams over the course of that week. I mean, it'd be crazy.
They do have like a cooker's caravan that you can sign up for, and a Kingsford
tours,
tour of champions.
There's a lot of bigger brands, like Big Green Egg sets up usually sets up a cooking area and
passes out samples.
You never know what's going on. So it's definitely something worth. I mean, you can't beat the view down there on the river either, because we are back at Tom Lee Park this year. I hadn't seen it yet.
I know.
I'm curious to know how everything's laid out.
I always kind of dread Memphis in May, but I'm kind of looking forward to Memphis in May.
It's a love-hate.
It's a love-hate.
It's like leading up to it, it's exciting. You get there, it's some of the most fun you've had. After it, you swear you never do it again for like a week. And then you start saying, well, maybe we just change this next. And then it leads up to this whole doing it again. This is our year. I feel it.
Oh, don't say
We're cooking hog this year. We'll be in the hog division.
Manifesting.
I tried that.
It don't work.
I've manifested a lot. That one never came to
never
fruition.
came through. I think you just got to go with the flow at Memphis.
You got to.
You got to jump in there and drink as much bullfrog as you can, shotgun some Miller Lights, do one of them keg stands with your neighbors, and let the barbecue just shake out wherever it goes. You'll have a much better time. That's my approach. Talk to as many people as you can talk to. Just get weird with it. That's what makes it fun. Then you don't get let down if you don't win. If you do win, say, hey, I mean, look, last year we had a big time. We got up on stage a whole bunch last year.
Yeah, we did. That was a good year.
We're gonna be doing all that again. We'll be doing all the ancillary stuff again this year. I mean, it's what is it? Chicken wings. It's 3 sauces. It's seafood. It's exotic. It's beef. It's chicken.
Hot wings.
Hot wings.
Yeah. Turkey. I mean, did you say
turkey? Yeah. That's all on Thursday and Friday. Mm-hmm. And then the main categories are Saturday, which you only get to do one of those. It would be kind of fun if you could do, ribs and hog, or, shoulders and ribs or something. You wouldn't like it? You think one category's enough?
One category's enough down there.
Usually I get warmed up by the time that third judge comes through. I'm just now getting in my zone and talking to them.
That's why we're going to do a little practicing this year.
You're going to run me through it.
So, all right, back to questions.
All right, now we jump right back. That's a good jump back to them there.
Okay, Michael wants to know, and I think this is a great one. Are there any recipe videos you made from early on, like 9, 10, 12 years ago?
Like Yellow Kitchen days?
Yellow Kitchen days that you would like to revisit with new ingredients, new methods, new cookers?
Yeah, I can see that. I mean,
I got a list.
You do?
Every time I look back at those old recipes and old videos, I'm like,
oh, I can't believe I did it like that or whatever. Yeah. There's a bunch of them that I've done that I would.
The editing, the filming, the everything.
Yeah, you could
lighting,
do different.
Yeah,
do different. I mean, I think so. Nothing that just jumps out at me
nothing top of your head.
Yeah, that I would say, oh, I got to redo that one. I mean, there was an old jerk chicken one that I know I can do way better jerk chicken now, because that was when I first discovered jerk chicken and I did a video on how to do it. They did it on the Weber kettle back then.
From what I remember, it was fire.
It was good. It just, I think I could make it look better.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's not that I would change the flavor or the taste of something, is that we didn't know how to pull off the aesthetics of a video back then. We were just capturing footage. And now we've kind of got a system down. We know how, what shots we need to get, what's the important part of the process to capture that somebody else can recreate it. Because if you just, from start to finish, if we recorded everything I do in a video, it'd be hours and hours. You just can't do that. To condense it down into something that's watchable, consumable, and replicatable, you've got to know how to get those shots and all the stuff that you do and Tyler does.
And you, back in the day, you used to make a marinade, and it might be a 15 ingredient marinade.
Yeah.
And it was good. It was great. But now I think you make it a little easier. Less
easier.
Ingredients.
I think you kind of got me on that way. You got to think when you're making stuff for people. Yeah, you might put 40 things in something, but somebody sitting at home is not going to do that.
Yeah.
And that's how you end up with cupboards full of all this crap that you never use again. And so I do try to simplify things and, still make it have a ton of great flavor, but not use crazy ingredients and thousands of things.
And I feel like you've learned, you're constantly learning. We all are constantly improving, but I think you've learned like little tips that make your cooks more efficient,
Yep.
over the years.
Definitely. I'm trying to think of some other ones I've done that I need to redo. There's a bunch of them.
I imagine there's a bunch. So, all right, I think this is a great one. You can only get one membership, Sam's Club or Costco.
Only one?
Yeah.
Holy smoke.
And they're
I know what I'm picking.
Distant.
Oh, okay. Oh, wait a minute. You put them side by side.
They're side by side.
You only get one.
Because it takes an hour and a half to get to Costco. It takes 30 minutes to get to Sam's.
Yeah, for us. So we don't go to Costco very often. I do have a membership there, and I like Costco. But if I had to pick only one, I'm picking Sam's.
Really? Why?
Because scan and go for one. Costco don't have that. Their checkout procedure, they're kind of mean at Costco checking out. They're like, you got to get over here on this line, basket on this line, get that stuff out, turn that stuff. And then they don't take certain credit cards. Like I get up there and can't pay with that one, can't pay with that one. Which one can I pay with, So that's my thinking there. And product wise, they have a lot of the same stuff, but then Costco has a lot of different stuff than Sam's. Do they have the liquor store? Like Costco, they sell some booze. Like our Sam's don't. It just sells beer.
I think it's a state thing.
It's a state thing. Yeah. Are we in a state to where they have full blown liquor?
Yes.
That's going to sway it a little too. Does Sam's have the liquor or just the Costco? Because I know Costco has their own.
Sure, they'll both have liquor.
Okay, I'm sticking with Sam's. I don't know.
I go Costco all day long. They have the better like frozen foods and the Kirkland brands and the.
Yeah, I guess.
But I guess just from
Sam's
a barbecue
hot dog combo is pretty good too. Costco's got a hot dog, but it's not near as good as Sam's Club hot dog combo.
I've heard that Costco's overall costs are cheaper because of the way that they buy everything. I can't remember exactly how it works, but like Sam's buys everything in bulk anyways, but then Costco tries to keep their overhead as low as possible. So the way that they buy things is almost like in bulk sales price or something like that to give their customers the lower prices. So
I don't know. That's tough. That's a tough choice. I like both of them. I would have, like, if I had my choice, I'd have both. Because there's because like, I want to look at the meat. But Sam's butts are way better than Costco's butts. Costco only sells, like, boneless pork butts. And I don't like their boneless pork. They're butchered up.
But they got the pork belly usually.
But they have pork belly. And they have a little bit, I see more prime cuts or prime grade at Costco than I do at Sam's. Now, our Sam's is starting to get some prime graded meat.
Their steaks have been looking pretty good last few times I've gone in there. And we got a nice, cool fish market in our Sam's now.
Yeah. They've got really good seafood.
Yeah, better seafood.
I don't know. What do you still pick Costco?
Yeah.
I know where everything is at Sam's. Costco, I have to hunt for it.
Does Costco have like the pans and the foil and
They do, but they're more expensive than Sam's. Yeah. See, I buy all my metal pans from Sam's. I mean, they're going to have the same staples, your paper towel and your toilet paper and stuff like that. I will say Kirkland's store, the Kirkland branded stuff is always pretty good.
Yeah, like the lunch meat.
And the bacon, seafood, the like frozen shrimp, stuff like that. It's always really good. Sam's rotisserie chicken's hard to beat, though.
So does Costco have rotisserie chickens?
I'm sure they do. I just don't remember them being as good as Sam's.
Sam's is the best.
Costco sells their rotisserie chicken in like a pack, cold. And I like that because we're using it for like chicken salad or pizzas or whatever. It's already, I like that. Sam's don't do that. But you're not going to beat a Sam's Club birthday cake either.
Oh, it's good.
There's just something about that buttercream icing they do. That's tough, man. That's a tough choice. I'd say go both.
You can only pick one.
Sam's Club.
Okay, I'm going Costco.
There's more Sam's Clubs, I would think.
Probably. Because Costco.
Because I can go anywhere I mean, I know I can go to any Costco if I got a card, but Sam's is more likely to have a Sam's.
Yeah.
So how many times we've been out of town at a barbecue contest? There'd be a Sam's Club we had to run to.
Yeah.
Or which one sponsored a whole contest cooking season?
Yeah.
Sam's. I'm Sam's. Sam's is more behind. You don't see Costco get behind barbecue people.
I think that's a regional thing now that I think about it, because when I was growing up, we had BJ's on the East Coast, which is the same.
It's another
thing.
Big club store, BJ's.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I never heard of BJ's.
And then South, I would say, is probably like this area of the country is probably more Sam's, and then the West is all Costco, like where my dad lives.
That makes sense.
So Trey wants to know, can anyone recommend a good steakhouse in Memphis?
Oh. Top 3, no particular order.
Yes.
Capitol Grill, Porch Parlor. Man, I'm trying to think. One more. If I had to give one more. Folks Folly.
That would be mine.
Iris. If you consider that a steakhouse.
They're more fine dining, but they have an awesome steak. Buckley's used to be pretty popular around here, but they've kind of...
I haven't been to Buckley's and had the big buck in a long time.
But mine were Porch and Parlor, Capitol Grill, Folks Folly, and Texas Day Brazil.
Yeah. Yep. See, I don't consider Texas Day Brazil a steakhouse. You're not going to go there and get a ribeye.
No.
You're
going to go there and eat some meat.
You're going to go there and eat some meat, yeah.
A lot of it, more than you need to.
Some rotisserie meat.
What's it considered? A Brazilian?
It is a Brazilian steakhouse.
Yeah.
A little different.
And
it's very good.
Yeah. We've never tried char.
I've ate at Char in Jackson.
Yeah.
And it's okay. It's like I don't really like Char wouldn't be on my list of like steakhouses. It's kind of like a middle of the road. Like it's a little bit above Texas Roadhouse, but it's not like it's not like Folks Folly, Capitol Grill. Char, you consider it white tablecloth?
I think they have white tablecloth.
I don't know. The what's the one we go to out there in Germantown?
Isn't that Folks Folly?
No, it's I think it's the same people that have Porch and Parlor, and they have Coastal Seafood, right? They have that. We go there for brunch on Sunday sometimes. It's really good.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. Southern Social.
Southern Social, yeah. It's really good too.
You can keep Ruth's Chris though.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Ruth's Chris.
Okay. Candace wants to know, we had leftovers. I'd like to do brisket tacos. Do you have any recipes
for brisket tacos?
Yeah.
I mean, really, if I was going to do them, I would probably just take my brisket and warm it up, like either on a flat top or, iron skillet or something like that. Maybe add a little Mexican style seasoning to it, like grande gringo, or just something to give it some flair. But I wouldn't cook it. It's already fully cooked.
Yeah.
So you're really just warming it up. But the tacos were, taco bar. I like all that stuff on it.
Pickled red onions.
Yeah.
Guacamole.
Sour cream or crema, some cheese of some sort, some fresh cilantro, some pico. All that's going on my brisket taco.
You could take it and kind of shred it up.
You could.
Put a little sauce in it.
Yeah, make it like taco meat more, chopped up taco meat. They make really good brisket quesadillas. Like, you just need brisket and cheese for that. And then you can, serve that with a little guac and sour cream, pico. Leftover brisket grilled cheese. That's a good one. Brisket, brisket po' boy kind of style and some gravy. That'd be good. I've seen people make brisket mac and cheese.
Brisket and eggs.
Yeah, brisket omelets. Brisket egg rolls. I've seen people chop it up and mix it with like
that's
slaw.
a good one, yeah.
And then
Fry
dress it a little bit, roll it up in an egg roll wrapper and fry it up and serve it with a little dipping sauce.
One thing I've never done, but I've always wanted to.
Brisket fried rice. That's a good one. You can do that on a flat top.
Brisket lasagna.
I've never tried that.
I know, I've never tried it, but I've always wanted to.
That'd be pretty good. It'd be really good. I've
I
used
think
it
it
in
would work
pizza.
better than pork.
I've used it in making pizzas.
Yeah,
you could make a brisket pizza with red onion and jalapenos and brisket and cheese. That's all you need.
All right, one more question for you.
All right.
And then I'm going to let you go eat a hot dog and some nachos. Adam wants to know, any ideas for the Cook's Choice category for a barbecue cook-off? What's a Cook's Choice category?
Anything goes. Anything
goes.
Anything but the main meats. What's always done well for us is anything with cream cheese and bacon. And if you're wanting to go savory style, something like that. Now, I don't know if you can get away with doing steaks, because I've seen people do like the whole, beef tenderloin and then slice it and serve it with like a boars and cheese sauce, or I've even seen it, topped with lobster or shrimp, like an Oscar style, with like a hollandaise or something like that over medallions of beef tenderloin.
That's getting fancy.
If anything goes, it's hard to beat a daggum cheesecake, and cheesecakes will wear you out. I don't know how many times we've been beat by somebody did a cheesecake. And you don't think about it because everybody's usually thinking some kind of meat or side dish or something like that. And they pop these judges that have been judging all this barbecue. They pop them with a dessert that's really good. And cheesecake, it's not like you don't have to worry about the icing melting on it, or if it's good room temperature, it needs to be cold. Cheesecake's one of those things that
it is good room temperature.
Yeah, it's great room temperature. And so I think that's why it does so good. But don't leave out the desserts when you're thinking anything but at a contest, because it gives those judges a change in palate taste. There's something different hitting them other than a heavy meat or something savory, and you can pop them with something that's sweet but not too sweet, like cheesecake, and I think that's why it does so well.
I remember you went and cooked a contest. No, you didn't cook it. You went and judged it. You and a group of friends went and judged a contest, and your anything but entry that won for y'all was a stuffed baked potato.
Yes.
And you said it was because it stayed warm and hot, and it was different, and it was flavorful, and
that was it. And it was a loaded baked potato. It was really good.
And it beat everything else.
Oh, brisket baked potato would be good too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You can do the brisket, warm it up in like a brown gravy, and then top it over a baked potato, and it's good. Brisket shepherd's pie. You got me thinking about brisket now.
Well, Malk, that's all I have for you today. What do you got coming up? We've been just cooking and recording, and
that's it. I mean, content
May.
creation. It's May time, so it's time for us to start, getting warmed up for Memphis in May, of course, and pumping out some videos for everybody to get those grills out and cook them. I know we're still doing our promotion, right, Tyler?
Yeah, so if you're listening to this on Friday morning, you guys have literally like less than 12 hours to go get your post in. If you go to the Let's Get to Cooking community page on Facebook, it's facebook.com/H2Q community. At the top, there's a pinned post, and we're doing a giveaway for spring cleaning. It's kind of got like tons of stuff you need to start your grilling season. So make sure you guys get your comments in for that, and that'll come to an end. And then we're going to be kicking off Malcom in May, which I'm assuming we'll talk about next week. So,
heck yeah. What's Malcom in May? Just me cooking?
It came about because the year they canceled Memphis in May.
Oh, yeah. So we just did videos that year.
Yeah. So it was
just me and you at the house pumping out COVID videos.
Yeah. It's just constantly. So, and then we did it. We've done it the past couple of years. We just called it Malcom in May.
Nothing wrong with that. It goes right along with us.
Yeah. That's when we're trying to get all these recipes ready.
It's definitely grilling season.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next thing I get coming, Tuesday night, I will be on the Barbecue Central for my regular monthly appearance, the first Tuesday of every month, the first segment. And it's May, so we'll be talking barbecue month, and I'm excited about finishing up our outdoor kitchen that we're doing down at the farm. So as soon as I get my smokehouse done, that's going to be
We'll probably go down there and maybe do some posts.
You want to do it? You want to do an updated where we're at on it?
Yeah.
Okay, we can do that. Good deal. Well, that's all I got today, Shell. You want to tell everybody where they can find us?
If you'd like to connect with Malcolm, it's HowToBBQRight on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and of course YouTube. If you'd like to connect with me, it's Miss Southern Shell on Instagram.
Oh, that does it for us today. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us. We'll be back next week. We gone.